Okay, assalamu alaikum and good morning everyone. Thank you for coming to IslamicRelief UK once again. As usual, whenever we call upon our partners and the media and the community, you are always there to respond in whatever shape or form, whether it's a big announcement, whether it's a big, huge emergency, or whether it's anything small as well, but significant. Tomorrow will mark the first anniversary of the Haiti earthquake. It was a time when over 200,000 people lost their lives, and 1.5 million people had to flee their homes as a result of the earthquake. It was a huge tragedy. It was a time when I went out personally 3 days after the earthquake and witnessed some of the horrific situation on the ground. A year on, I'm delighted to say that Islamic Relief is still there in Haiti, and we sent out a delegation last week to Haiti. On the delegation we have Reverend Lord Leslie Griffiths, who is Superintendent Minister of the Wesley Chapel. In the 1970s he spent much of his time in Haiti engaging in community development work. Since his return in the 80s he has written several books, a couple of them on the issue of Haiti, and in 1996 he joined the Wesley Chapel. In 1994 he was given a life peerage for his work. We also sent Sheikh IbrahimMogra, who is an Imam from Leicester and Chair of the Interfaith Relations Committee of the Muslim Council of Britain. He's a regular contributor on the Today programme on BBC Radio 4 and the Big Questions on BBC One. Sheikh IbrahimMogra was educated at Al-Azhar University in Cairo and at the SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies. And this is Razul Karim, who's from Islamic Relief UK. He's an aid worker, he's our fundraising manager here in the UK, and he led the delegation out to Haiti. What I will do is I will now hand over to Reverend Lord Leslie Griffiths to share some of his experiences from his visit, and then over to Imam Mogra. So.
Thank you. Well, good morning to everybody. Just to say, in addition to what has already been said, which I must say sounded like my obituary, but I'm not dead yet, so I'll try and keep things going a bit longer. I have been associated with Haiti for 40 years, lived there for the best part of 10, been going back regularly ever since. I was for 10 years on the board of directors of Christian Aid along the road from here, and chair of its Africa Middle East committee for part of that time. So I have been to Haiti in the past to represent various Christian bodies, the Methodist Church, Christian Aid, the World Council of Churches, and others too. This is the first time that I've been with a group from another faith, and I would want to begin any remarks I make by saying what a terrific privilege it was to be asked, and what a joy and a pleasure it was to keep the company of those who went with me, although all of us had to face distressing scenes and circumstances that we had to think long and hard about. The earthquake took place a year ago. People were immediately, their needs responded to, and their needs for shelter and water and food were addressed from the outset by an outburst of generosity that spread across the world. A year later, it's very distressing indeed to see the numbers of people still living in these temporary accommodations in tented villages. 1.3 million people in the city of Port-au-Prince still accommodated in that way. It's very important when going to such a place and to look at such basic fundamental needs to keep a sense of detachment in order to make wise judgments, but also to ask questions of yourself as to whether what you're doing by way of a response is the best in the circumstances. We visited 3 camps where Islamic Relief is actively at work, and I think we can say that honest and strong attempts are being made in all of them to meet the needs of the people there. I think we'd also want to say that with a more mixed set of outcomes than that. One of the camps is organized in an ideal sort of way. They've had an opportunity on a flat piece of ground to make sure it was that superficial waters were dealt with, canalized and drained away. The tents were put up in an orderly manner. That thought was given to the best way of providing for people's needs, not overpopulating the area, that kind of thing. In another area, because of a sloping terrain and because of a shared responsibility with other NGOs, there hasn't been the liberty to approach the way that response has been made in quite the same way, with quite the same degree. So there we met needs which I think we've all discussed amongst ourselves that were really pretty tricky. They've been living there for a year. The thing was put up in a hurry. It's on a slope. It rained whilst we were there, so we could imagine what happens when it rains even more heavily than it did when we were there. The toilet and bathing facilities leave a lot to be desired. All those kinds of things we saw at pretty close quarters. I think it's been, on the part of all the NGOs, a terrific effort to meet the needs. But there we wished we'd had a flat piece of land, we wished we'd had a chance to start again, all that kind of stuff. But having said that, we wished particularly that the people there no longer had to live in tents. A year afterwards, they shouldn't be living in tents. And when you think that the whole world community has had its conscience pricked by this crisis, the thought that we can't find a solution to simple housing for people a year on is a difficult one. So Islamic Relief's contribution to the tented villages I found impressive. We all wished we'd started with better raw materials in some of the instances. Schools were the other place where a big effort has been made by Islamic Relief. And thousands of children have the opportunity in decent surroundings. I mean, we saw schools that are operating after the earthquake in temporary makeshift accommodation under canvas, sometimes in the open air. Islamic Relief has made it possible in good and conducive circumstances to pursue the education of children, and that's just brilliant. There's more work needed, let me tell you, because budgets have been exhausted in trying to get the solutions needed. The children are back at school now after their long Christmas break. And I think that I would want to appeal to anybody in the Muslim community here in Britain not to go to sleep on this one. There's more to be done, and a terrific start, fantastic start, but it must be continued. So schooling is another key area. Creating job opportunities for people who otherwise have no work and giving them therefore the respect of earning money just to do the jobs that need doing, like cleaning up the streets and keeping things in shape and order. So a cash for work program has also been an important part of Islamic Relief's efforts, as has the attempt to build more durable shelter at a slow rate, but the hope is that 4,000 such units will be built in the period that they're working at this problem, so that out of the tents they can get into something that's a bit more dignified, a bit more decent, where their privacy can be respected and so on. So I just saw pieces of work, and I'm an old diehard in this. I've been around a long time in these things. I have to say that it was a very valuable contribution to such a huge mountain of need. I was privileged to be part of this effort. Oh, and I just need to add one more thing. Perhaps the thing that impressed me most, actually, so why I've left it to last and nearly forgot it, I don't know. It's the extraordinary good fortune mixed with good judgment, because the pool from which to draw such people is very limited, that Islamic Relief has had in putting together local leadership. It's found people to build schools, to plan camps. It's found people to mobilize opinion and to get people to cooperate together. It's found local people able to do this, and this has been an amazing piece of work. And I situate as a Haiti, a lover of Haiti, my confidence in the work of Islamic Relief in the fact that most of its work is actually being done through Haitian people. That's a very strong part of the overall package. So that's just an on the hoof set of impressions 24 hours after getting back. And of course I'll be delighted to take any questions that you want to offer me subsequently.
Okay, we'll leave the questions till after Imam Mogra speaks. Over to Imam Mogra.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu ala Rasulillah Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. I'd like to first of all begin by thanking Islamic Relief for giving me the opportunity to visit Haiti. It's my first ever experience of visiting a country which has been devastated through a natural disaster. But also to thank them for enabling me to share the company of Reverend Lord Leslie Griffiths, a very important Christian leader in our country. A clear demonstration on the part of Islamic Relief of the Islamic principles of helping humanity regardless of religion and race. As you'll be aware, Haiti is a Christian country, and for Islamic Relief, which is a Muslim charity, to wholeheartedly put all its effort in helping our brothers and sisters of a different faith is really something that we as Muslims can truly be proud of. And I believe this is setting a trend for other Muslim charities. It's a role model for other Muslim charities who are not yet doing this to consider and to make it part of the mainstream work that they do. The Haitian people clearly are very, very appreciative of the work that Islamic Relief are doing. Lord Griffiths has covered a lot of ground about what's happening, but just a few reflections of that head teacher that we saw in the school, which Islamic Relief helped to rebuild and put right. She was thrilled to bits, and she couldn't say thank you enough. She kept saying thank you and thank you to Islamic Relief for putting up the building back in its right shape. But not only that, but the local engineer that Islamic Relief have employed added to the structures things that were not there before, and therefore made it more beautiful. So it's these little things, just the fact that he managed to create a veranda and some flower pots and all that, and a children's play area. These little details meant so much for those children and the school teacher. And I'm sure she'll now be more enthusiastic in the work that she does. And likewise, there are many other examples that we saw of how Islamic Relief's work has helped to bring back a sense of pride and renewed energy in the local people within the camps. For me, one of the most impressing things was the fact that Islamic Relief has made it a point to use local expertise, the local people who are there, more or less putting them in charge of their own destiny, and thereby giving them a sense of ownership of whatever is happening. So the camps have a management committee made up of the locals. They will have a president or chairman and the committee around that individual, and they would deal with matters of that particular camp. There's a small office which Islamic Relief have put up for them. People with their issues, with their difficulties, with their problems, whatever the case might be, are able to go to this committee and have their needs addressed or their concerns heard. And in turn, the committee would then coordinate these things with the Islamic Relief head office there in Haiti. So these are some very interesting ways of operation that I have observed which have truly impressed me. But like Lord Griffiths said, there is so much more to be done. Things after 12 months are almost the same. People are still living in tents, still living in conditions where none of us would accept for ourselves. And if we go by the teachings of Islam, that we should desire for our fellow brothers and sisters what we desire for ourselves, then I think there is still a very long way for us to go. And I'm sure that the UK communities, Muslims and others, will redouble their efforts to help Islamic Relief provide that very much needed aid and support to the Haitian people.
Yeah, thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to open the floor if there are any questions. But before I do, can I just ask that you raise your hands and mention your name and the organisation and who your question is directed.